Hello, folks, and welcome back to Dusty Tracks BC at the Kiwanis Performing Arts Centre. Johanna, the Executive Director of the Kiwanis Performing Arts Centre, has joined us today to tell us about the different programs and things she does.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for letting us be here.
Yeah, well, super exciting to share everything that we have going on under our roof.
Yeah, will you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
So we are the Kiwanis Performing Arts Centre. We are a multifaceted building that has a lot of things that happen under our roof. So being a performing arts centre, we run a full dance program for youth. So that starts at ages 3 and goes up to age about 17, 18 when kids are graduating in there. So we have lots of little ballerinas and little ballet kiddos that run around the building, and that's so awesome then to see as they progress and get older into our graduating students, which is always exciting to see them graduate. But then we also run a full music program. So we have got a variety of different music teachers that are under our roof, and we offer one-on-one half-an-hour lessons with our teachers. And something really cool that our music program does is, because, you know, doing just a normal recital is kind of boring, or we thought it was boring. We thought we'd do a really fun thing and jazz it up, and so we've made a rock recital. So all of our music students at the end of the year get an opportunity to play on our stage along with their teachers, and then the teachers get to back them up. So if they're learning drums, then the teachers will back them up either with vocals or with guitar or vice versa. So it's really kind of cool. So the kids really get that experience of playing in a full band, which is one of my dreams I'd love to have. Is I'd love to see more kids and garage bands playing and more, you know, youth having that opportunity. So that's really fun to have a really cool music program that runs. The other side of us and the programming that we run is we have a full-on daycare. We run a huge daycare. We have about 80 kids in care in our daycare. And the unique thing about that is that we then try to integrate the performing arts into the daycare. So that's really important for us, so that kids get exposure to the performing arts. So what's really neat is then if parents have their kiddos in our daycare and have them registered then for programming in the dance or music program, our caregivers will make sure that they get to their lesson, that they're dressed for the lesson, or have their instruments, whatever that may be. So just helping parents out, giving them a little one less thing to worry about in their life. But then also we have some pretty awesome instructors that will then go into our daycare programs and do programming with them. So that's really cool. So the kids kind of get that exposure. Also, we have a full-on theater that we operate and manage. So we've got a wonderful theater manager, Curtis, that manages all of that, but we bring in often live music, you know, throughout the whole year. We bring in shows if they make sense. We have different performers that come. So again, our kiddos from the daycare get that exposure where they get to come and experience some of the live music or the kids shows that we bring in. So that's really exciting. So like I said, so having a theater as well gives us a huge opportunity then to work with, you know, local musicians, local productions of, you know, plays that maybe. We've had really cool things happen on our stage where the local writers group in the community came out and kind of did this black curtain improv theater like reading, which was super cool. So really cool ideas like that. We're always open to working with our community as well. So I encourage people to come out and say, hey, we want to be a part of this, or hey, we got this really cool idea. Well, how can we make that happen? So lots of partnerships have happened over the years under our roof. So we've been able to offer then a full adult theater program, which was really cool. We had a gentleman from our community that was here for a short time, and he managed to put together a whole production over the winter to do that program. Unfortunately, now he's moved on, so we'd lost that. But again, we've had various people that have come in to do theater programs with youth as well. So, you know, again, we're just open to what people want to bring to us as well.
Yeah.
So along with all of that programming that we kind of manage, we also have a lot of other users of our building, because we've got this nice big beautiful building. And so in the building we have got the Kiwanis Community Band, and so they are a full band. They used to be a marching band, but I think they had to stop marching just due to some of the levels of people's skill and ability to march, but they still are actively out doing all of our parades, doing all of that fun stuff. So it's really cool that they're here in the building. And then they also offer a youth program as well for people to get involved. We also have the archives. Our historical archives are also stored in the building here, which is really fun to go down and hang out with those folks, because they just know everything and everybody. So it's kind of cool to go through all of the different books or the different information that they have to share with the community. Then we also have, heading up onto our top floor, we have got a pottery guild. So a whole variety of folks that are part of the pottery guild. I don't even know how many members they have, but they've got quite a large number. So in their pottery guild room, they have got a number of different wheels that people can use, and then kilns that they also have to for people to do their firings. We also have a quilters guild in the building. So quilters, they've got a lovely group of people that come up here and quilt, and they, you know, do all of the chemo quilts for the community, as well as other charitable quilting that they do. So that's kind of fun. We also have a lovely visual artist, Kaylee Oldershaw, that's in our building. She's got private studio space here, which is really great. So she has been an artist that is born and raised here in Dawson Creek, and has really just, you know, elevated her art to a really professional standard. So awesome to have her around, and she does some amazing work here. And then we have other little businesses that operate in here. So we have got a tech company, which is super handy because they also do all our tech for the building, which, as in this world of tech, is really needed. Definitely would not send our tech guy anywhere. Love him. But then there's also a cafe. We have Juice 50, which they offer Vietnamese food in here. And then again, down in the basement, we have got a really cool lady named Trina Gower, and she does different types of Reiki. She does some medium work, and she's got some other people that work in and out of her office there, offering a variety of alternative health practices and stuff down there. So I think that's everybody in our building, but we have a lot that happens here. So there's tons of really exciting energy that always is flowing through the building. Lots of good collaboration with all of our folks that are in the building. So yeah, we love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so cool to hear how many different pieces there are all coming together. What is it like for you managing all the different pieces?
Busy. Yeah. We have a really great team, and that's one of the things that when I came on about 5 years ago, really looked for all of the different opportunities that we could build on within the organization. So we definitely have massively grown over the past 5 years since I've been here, and really have taken advantage of them. One of the biggest opportunity was that we didn't have somebody originally managing and operating the theater. And so we were really lucky to be able to reach out to Creative BC, get some grant funding through them that allowed me then to hire Curtis on as our full-time manager, as well as then get some funding for him to do some live music shows. Since then, Creative BC has been annually supporting us in doing live music and stuff, which is so wonderful, because it's really hard when we started with not having somebody managing it, and us not really being known as a venue or a place for live music. But on the other hand, we have this big, beautiful stage. We have all the lights and sound. We have a theater that seats 194 people in our seating, but with that seating is also retractable, so it can push back into the wall, and we can do a nice big open area for like a dance or, you know, whatever that may be. So it was really, again, a shame that it was just sitting there, not really being used to its full potential. So in about 2020 is when we hired him to come on. Fortunately, COVID hit, and that was a thing that really, really affected us, especially in the events area and that. So we went through a difficult period. But since the recovery of COVID, it's been a slow kind of a gradual gain where, again, we were just starting to get, you know, some funding to do live music, to do more events, and then COVID hit, and then we were starting at ground zero again after, in the sense that we were building that all up. Now 3 years later, we're really, you know, starting to be caught on as the venue to come to. We're nice that it's easy, a nice place to come into. A lot of our events, if we do an evening event, we'll bring in, partnered with a company up in Fort St. John called Mighty Peace Brewery. So they're awesome to come down and do our bar for us and do bar services. But because we're this big building that isn't fully licensed all the time, we're able to do all ages shows, which is really great, which is really unique. So people can still come, bring their kids, watch a show. You can still have a glass of wine, you know, have a beer, but we're not necessarily known as the bar, the party place. So it's kind of a nice environment for folks to be able to bring then their kiddos as well, to come and expose their kids to that. So the theater was a huge, like I said, a huge opportunity for us to grow. And now, like I said, we have Curtis managing that, which is fabulous. And then as far as daycare, we do have a full-on manager that manages the daycare side, which again, for me, it's just a lot of, coordinating, making sure that things are running well there. In total, we have about 27 staff under our roof.
Wow.
So, and again, under different leaders of our community, of our team here, they all fall kind of under there. So daycare has its own kind of team and a manager there. Curtis has his little team that he needs for the theater and folks there. We've got a wonderful office team, that kind of admin team that we keep everything running, and all of our billing and stuff. But it's really easy in a sense to manage everybody when everybody's so passionate about what they do. Like, people are here for the right reasons. They want to be here. And then the people we hire to bring in are people that also want to be here. And so I totally believe in giving people opportunity to grow, because arts and being creative, and this is a real career goal for people. And I think a lot of people pass that over. They think like, geez, I need to grow up and be that doctor, or I need to be the engineer, or I need to do this things. But I've really been on a mission to try to expose the arts to youth, and that these can be real career paths, that we need people to do sound. Like, we have a full-time person that does sound for our theater. Like, these are real career jobs, and usually in communities, there's not 100 of them. There's usually 1 or 2 people, so you kind of can corner the market. But those are real jobs. Same with teaching dance, being music teachers, being creative in any of that. So for me, I always want to, try to inspire the youth that, hey, these are jobs. And if being creative isn't your jam, then we also need administrators, people, to be running the office and to do that and to be around. So when we hire our folks, we try to look at kind of what skill sets they have, and can we nurture and foster that. So for instance, one of our lovely people, Emma, who runs Anchega Hall, which is another great venue in town, has now started working with us because she does have a huge passion in learning more about lights and sound and working in our theater. And as we grow, Curtis's job becomes a bit more administration, finding grants and stuff. So having somebody to move into that position is really cool. So we kind of know where people are going to move as we grow, which is really exciting, because then we can help to foster, their passion.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Emma Hawkins' name is one of those that we keep hearing different places in the community. We're in the Anchega Hall with Mandy and the Jitterbug dancers.
Yeah, totally.
And I saw there's like a photo of Emma Hawkins and like a Kermit on a chair.
Yes, absolutely. No, we love her. And she's been at, Anchega for quite a number of years, doing their kind of light, sound, and production over there. So she started with us about a year ago in the thought that, yes, we want her to kind of start taking over some of the stuff to alleviate some of the workload on Curtis's end, because we do all of our own production in-house. So when we come to our year end to do dance shows, it's all of our folks that are putting that together. Same with our rocks recital that we do, it's all of our folks. So again, so for youth, I think that if they know that these things are out there, then I hope that maybe there's that interest, because I know for us, it's always trying to find the people that have that interest to help foster the creativity that's here. And so, yeah, we just want to help the youth do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Of all these different pieces, what are you most excited about for the next little while?
Well, the biggest thing for me is kind of biggest project we have on the go is we're going through a process where for a number of years, besides wearing my arts hat and being involved in the arts community, I've been for a number of years involved in our early years community and along with our daycare. And so for quite a number of years, we've been advocating for the increase of just daycare spaces in the community, and I think that's something that's happening all across the province. And so for us, since I've been here, we have slowly increased our daycare. We started with 3 classrooms 5 years ago. We're sitting now at 5, so we've increased now to 2 classrooms. We had 0 to 36 months, so infant toddler care at all. Now we've got 2 infant toddler care classrooms, because those were definitely the need. So where we're sitting at right now is we have been talking to the city and trying to make a partnership with them, where we would like to build a brand new daycare center, which would then help to separate my performing arts and my daycare. Because part of this building, so this building that we're in here now, used to be the old post office. It was the old government building, the old post office. gorgeous. And KPAC, along with the daycare, used to be in an old school setting up the hill and kind of out of the downtown area. That school got shut down, or they needed to tear the building down. And with that, about 10 years ago, then they retrofitted this building to become our performing arts and daycare. So this is how we moved into this building downtown here, which is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. But like I said, as we've been growing and the need for daycare has increased, what we've happened is daycare's slowly been increasing or encroaching a bit more on our performing arts side. So some of the rooms that we would have typically used for performing arts, we've turned now into classrooms because we've needed the need for the community. So, and the need is so great. So we have just over 80 kids in our daycare, and I have a 2.5-year long wait list. So that's how much. 2.5 years. Yeah. So as much as I can open up classrooms, the list never go down. So this partnership that we've proposed with the city is funny that we were proposing that we move the daycare back to the old lot where we came from, because it's just a giant green space lot now, large enough to house a daycare, but we can move the daycare and increase daycare spaces. So right now we have 80 kids. We're proposing to build a 197 kid center, which would increase the spaces to 117 for our community. The other part with that is a partnership then with Northern Health, because retaining doctors and nurses for our community is a huge issue. So one of the things that we hear often is the fact that childcare doesn't quite match the hours that they need to work, because doctors and nurses usually work 12-hour shifts, and daycare for us usually runs from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30, so not quite following a full 12-hour shift, plus just the fact that there are no spaces. So in this new daycare proposal, we're proposing then, when we have made a partnership with Northern Health, that they will supply them with 2 specific rooms that will cover those 12-hour shifts, so maybe run from like a 6 to 6, type hours, and they'll come in. Along with that, of course, is then the increase of our staffing, because now we go from our 27 staff to now needing 44 staff up there. So we've reached out and made a partnership then with the college, because in our college there is teaching for the ECE program, and so by partnering with them, then we could be the teaching facility where then the folks that go into that program can come and work in our center. It mirrors what's being taught there. It kind of keeps us with a staffing level there. So at this point, so we're waiting for all of this to kind of we proposed it to the city here at City Council a couple weeks ago. We're hoping that we're moving forward with this project here over the next year. So when that happens and the daycare comes in, daycare will move out of this center and into its own center. So then what happens here is we have now 9,000 square feet that we get to open up for performing arts, or arts in general. So we're super excited about what that could possibly mean for us, because there's lots of other folks in the community that are looking for houses or homes to put their programming. So we have a spinners and weavers group in our community that needs kind of a home. We have got recently a choral society. We had a choral society for a number of years in our community. COVID again kind of squashed it, but it's coming back. But they need a home, and they used to be in our facility here, but since then we've changed, where people are, in the space that they're renting. So we don't have space for them, but in the future we could. It would be really cool to have the Choral Society back here, along with the spinners and weavers, and then some artist and studio space. So we have some really cool plans to continue to grow and expand. So that's probably pretty much what I'm really excited about. And the big project is if we can increase daycare for the community and increase the performing arts and art space for the community, then I think we're winning. I think we're doing good.
I think so. That's a huge win.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to happen over the next few years, so it's not instant how this happens. But again, then for us, what it would really allow is more opportunity to host things for the community, because our theater is wonderful, but sometimes that's a really big space when you have like artists and poets that maybe want to do readings or these more intimate things. So then we'll be able to create space where we can have smaller space and we can have these smaller stages and stuff, which again, I think would be so cool.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about your future plans, because there's such high demands always. There's never enough art space.
Yeah.
There's never enough childcare anywhere across the country.
No, and we still want to very much, even though we separate our two entities, we still are one, where we really still want to integrate the performing arts into it. So no matter where the new daycare center may go, then we will send our dance teachers are committed still to then providing dance lessons up at the center. And then when we do performances, then those folks come down, the kiddos come down here to do performances, and same with our music. that they're still getting that exposure. I mean, then it's not unrealistic at that point, being a bigger center too, for us to, send our kiddos down here for an afternoon performance if we were, brought somebody fun in.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool. Mm-hmm.
So walk me through more like the more week to week. What's happening in the KPAC Center like between now and December? What kind of shows do you have coming up?
So summertime is quite slow for us. This is our catch our breath moment where we redo all of our registrations and programming and stuff that start up in the fall. So coming in the fall, then we start up our full dance program, begins in the fall, and that runs from from September until May. And then again with our music program, we'll start again in the winter. Curtis starts to organize lots of live music again, starting in the winter. I don't know exactly what he's got coming up, but we definitely try to do at least 2 live music shows a month out of the theater. So that's really exciting. And I know we have got a gentleman coming in September, and I don't want to say a tribute band because it's not a tribute band, but it's a John Denver show, a tribute to John Denver. But it's really cool because this gentleman that actually worked with John Denver and wrote songs with him. So it's him and friends that worked with John Denver coming to do a show. So it's not quite a tribute, but it's a tribute to him, if that makes sense. But it's super exciting. So we're excited for that show to happen in September. I know that one's coming. We also are doing something different this year around Christmas because Christmas is lovely. I love Christmas. It's great. We do a wonderful Christmas market, but this year we thought we would bring in, because everyone seems to get so jazzed about Christmas, bring in an actual brass jazz band that's coming in to do some jazz, like Christmas jazz concert stuff. So that's kind of new for us. So I think that'll be fun to attend, and we'll kind of deck it out that you can come early and have some wine and have a glass of champagne and get dressed up fancy and come watch our Christmas jazz show. So those are kind of some of the ones that I know that are coming up. But some of the big events that we organize all year round is this past year we organized for the first ever Peace Arts Festival. So an idea that has been rolling around in my brain for a couple of years here finally came to fruition, which was an idea to bring the whole community together to celebrate everything and anything arts and making art accessible to everybody, and the fact that art can be accessible to everybody, and it's also such a form of mental health too for us to express ourselves. So we started with this idea kind of last summer, threw it out there to the community, started a committee meetings about last September-ish, and we hosted our first Peace Arts Festival here at the beginning of June. So it was June 6th to the 10th that we did. And so it was a 4-day festival, and what the idea was is that it wasn't a centralized festival, so things were happening in and around the whole community for those 4 days. So we really utilized, like for instance here at KPAC, because of our theater space, we then hosted a lot of independent films, because we've got some wonderful filmmakers in our community. So we had a film premiere that happened on Friday night by a wonderful lady, Trina, who made a film, and then Macwood guys, I think you guys interviewed those folks, they had a bunch of films that they just released, so they got to have a film premiere day as well. And then also the community has made a bunch of short films, so then we did a short film festival on the Sunday. So we filled our space with a lot of films. Art Gallery had a whole bunch of stuff happening up there. They had art openings that were happening, some workshops that were happening. Our pottery group in the community, they put together outdoor raku kilns, which was something that I'd never even heard of, but what they are is basically they're big outdoor kilns that you watch live firings of pottery. So that was really cool. So they set up outside so people could watch these live demonstrations of the pottery that were part of it. We had our writers group that worked with the library and did an evening where people could get up and do their own readings and read their pieces of work. There was a really cool Donna Kane, is a poet in our community. She did a really cool workshop. That was probably one of my favorite that I went to, because it was totally out of my elm to write poetry and do that, but she kind of did this really cool workshop where you got to kind of pull yourself out of your own box and experience it. So that was really cool. That happened kind of out north, out in Rolla. So we utilized a bunch of venues here in Dawson Creek, and then out in Rolla also participated. So they've got a big community hall out there. So they threw a workshop for macrame, as well as did a big community dance out there. And then the other cool aspect was we had a bunch of local artists that wanted to showcase their studios. So they were able to showcase their studios, and people could tour through the studios and kind of meet with them, see what kind of art they do. So we got a gentleman named Carl Matson in our community that does a lot of the sculptures and the welding sculptures. So people got to go to his studio and do his tours and see what his studio looked like, as well as some writers. Rob Brown in our community, he is a film writer, so he got to share his studio along with some other.
Right?
Yeah, the Sekunka film. Yeah, for sure. So so the festival itself, like I said, we had over 30 events that happened over those 4 days, and it was 100% a community-driven project where the community really just came out and said, like, hey, yeah, we want to be involved. We'll put on this workshop. So people like our gardening club, they got and started doing gardening art with folks and doing workshops. So it was really cool to have the whole community to come together for those 4 days. This was our first year that we did it. And it was awesome. We did a wrap-up party yesterday and got feedback from our committee, and we are all on board to making next year even better and continuing this idea going forward. So I'm really excited to see where the future of that is. And so this first year with the Arts Festival, being our first year, we didn't have a lot of funding, and you can't apply for a lot of funding in your first year of a big festival anyhow. That's kind of the restriction. A lot of funders will say, well, if it's year one, we'll wait and see. Do you survive? But luckily, our city, I did get some sponsorship through our municipality to be able to host it, and so now we'll just continue growing that whole event. But that was a really cool event, though, to see how the whole community, kind of really just came out and celebrated it. We were so busy, like I said, over the 4 days of going all over different places, but that was the whole idea, is to really, get people out to experience things and see things that maybe they had never seen. So yeah, so that's a big event. So our committee meetings will start again in September, planning for next June again. But that's a full-on year-long kind of project that we work on there. So that one keeps us busy.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
We have comic festivals in Vancouver, and I love those days when you get to walk around and meet different artists and see how they create stuff and like the different things that are made in the community. It's such a great way of bringing people together, I find.
Well, and our garden club does a really cool project during the summer where it's like garden tours. So again, people open up their homes so that people can go tour their gardens. And that's kind of where we got the idea to do these artist studio space tours, is that, from that, and that people, the artists that wanted to be part of it, could open up their studios, and then people really get to travel around and see them. So yeah, so again, we'll hopefully continue growing that idea. And one of the things that we'll probably do next year for the festival that we really didn't this year because of just this year kind of laying the bones out, trying to get everything, organized, is I'd really like to put a call out there, have a registration form for anybody that wants to participate. So for instance, like an artist, let's say there's a guy that just learned to play his whistle and he's awesome and now he's really good at his whistle and he wants to play somewhere. He should have an opportunity to play in our arts festival. So we'll create a nice registration that he can do that and say like, I'm this whistle guy and I'm gonna do this. Because we actually have our license for busking out in front of our building. So that utilizing things like that. So people should showcase that. But the other part of it is I really also want to show art in unique places or places you wouldn't necessarily think. So the other registration will be, hey, I'm a venue or I'm the dentist office and I would like to be involved in the Arts Festival. Well, how can we be involved? Okay, it would be really then cool to take some of these artists and then match them with these unusual places. So there's no reason we couldn't hang, art or put sculptures in doctor's offices or dentist office, but then there's also no reason that the poetry guy could come for a half an hour and read poetry to the dentist office. We're all sitting there anyways. So again, I think that would be kind of fun to try to see and, put a call out to the community to see what businesses, might be interested and then what folks might come forward, because again, it's really trying to make it accessible to everybody. And let's just have fun, right? Like dentist office. I love that. I think it would be awesome to have that. To go in. That's the day you want to book your appointment.
Yeah, 100%. I like that so much. It's such an amazing, an amazing gathering in the community.
So we'll see what happens. So this coming year for the festival, that's what I'm going to put a call out and just kind of see what happens and see who wants to be involved.
Amazing.
No.
Well, we could talk about art all day, but thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
For sure.
Is there anything you feel like people should know about KPAC that they don't yet know?
Well, they should just come in the building and check us out, because one of the things that the building, like I said, is an old post office. So it's an old government building, which sometimes can be intimidating for people to come into because it looks very institutionalized. And so because of that, I can't do much of the exterior of our building because we have heritage status, but trying to get people in and through the doors is always the mission, to come down, experience our space. And so one of the other projects that we started a few years ago is called Pillars of Our Community. So I looked around and I thought, geez, we're supposed to be an art center, and where's all of our art? And it should be beaming. Every white space of a wall should be covered in art in here. So in order to, again, to encourage people and all people to enter our building, we did this Pillars of Our Community, where we've gotten funding each year to represent different cultural aspects of our community. And so we hire artists from those communities to paint us beautiful canvases, then that we get blown up and we wrap downstairs in our lower lobby is a bunch of structural pillars that then we wrap these paintings around the pillars to really jazz up the space. So our first one was our Indigenous pillar that we did, and then we've done a Pride pillar, and then just this year we finished with our East Indian community, and they did a beautiful pillar. So next I'd like to move on to our Filipino community, and of course with our Vietnamese cafe, we'll probably do a Vietnamese pillar as well. But again, engaging with those folks from the community, from their community. It's not, you know, us picking. We went to our East Indian community and said, who do you have that would like to showcase or could do this artwork for us? And so we had two lovely ladies that did our paintings for us that we put on these pillars. But now the art gallery wants to show these ladies. So again, just how, you know, how things can kind of progress and go, but they were just two lovely ladies from the community. I don't think they showed a lot of work, but now we're being asked to put more work in the art gallery and to show, because their paintings were amazing. So again, we'll see with the other communities as we grow from the Filipino community and our Vietnamese community. But the idea, again, is that everybody has a space and is welcome. So just come through those doors. Even though we may look like a giant post office in the government building, I assure you we are not.
You heard it here, folks. Yeah. Come in, come visit, see the art. Be there for the Peace Valley Art Fest.
So Peace Arts Fest.
Peace
yeah. There
Arts
is a
Fest.
Peace Valley Festival as well, which can get confusing.
That one's happening tomorrow.
In Hudson Hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's so much to the Peace region. I mix up all of my acronyms.
We're very peaceful. We're very peaceful people.
Good. Come see the Peace, come see the shows, and thank you for watching today, and thank you so much for talking with us.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, cheers.
Bye, folks.
Bye.